All right, good evening, everyone. Welcome back to another edition of Carollo's Corner at It's All About Scores.com and our sister site, It's All About Sports.com. Tonight, I have the head coach of one of the most upcoming programs in South Jersey, the Rancocas Valley Red Raiders, Coach Garrett Lucas. Garrett, say hello to everyone.
How we doing, baby? Go Red Devils.
All right, Garrett, I'll get right into this. Tell me about this team this year. I know that you guys are a team on the move, on the rise. I like what I'm seeing. Well, tell us about your team.
Yeah, I think everything's been a work in progress in terms of what we've got rolling within the last this is going on year. It's crazy to think, but it's going on year 4. Whenever you come in and you want to implement something, you have to change the way people think. You know what I mean? You have to change the way people work. And it does not happen overnight. And the biggest thing for our kids is the weight room. It's buying in and believing that you need to physically change your body and you need to change your mindset. So that's really what we attack in the months of December, January, the whole way up until June. June, obviously, we started practice to be June 16th, and you could see the growth with these guys where we returned about 4 guys on the offensive line from last year, our tight end, our quarterback, our running back. We lost our 3 receivers, and they were extremely talented individuals, one being Brody Diter. But to watch, we have a room now where there's about 5 to 6 guys that they all can contribute. So it's kind of nice now of building that and finally reaching this point where, we're just extremely excited, offensively and especially defensively. Our defensive line, we think, is definitely one of the top ones in South Jersey. 2 young, very talented ends, a guy that's going to wreak some havoc inside. We're excited to get after it on Friday.
All right, awesome. And how about your run game in particular? Talking about the offense.
Repeat that question.
Your run games. We're talking about the offense.
Yeah. I mean, well, our run game is everything. If I had it my way in a perfect world, we wouldn't pass. And I love Savian. He's an amazing watching him play quarterback. I think he's the best dual threat quarterback in the state of New Jersey. His is next to none. If you watch him, just watch him in pregame. The way he's able to get the ball out so quick, that's why RPOs are so deadly for us. But you have to account for him. You know what I mean? He can truly pull the ball, get downfield, but then also we have our very talented, Division I running back, Jameer Bellamy, who runs about a 4.5 40. So, he can get loose. And ultimately it just puts teams in conflict. We run a run and shoot offense. So, sometimes it's a rocket toss concept coming back with counter. It could be trap, power, count. We have a lot of schemes built into this offense to make it very successful.
All right, great. So tell me about some of the kids returning and some of the exciting newcomers that we were going to see in just a couple of days.
Yeah, definitely. Obviously Savian Adams, our quarterback, our tailback, Jameer Bellamy, up front, our tackle, Jordan Evans. He converted. He used to play basketball, and he's 6'5", 315 pounds. He can move, and he has motor. All 3 of those guys are captains. Ricky Doppler, he's a captain. He's our tight end. He's 6'3", 250. So, we definitely have size across the board on offense, and that's where we're going to hang our hat on. Some of the newcomers on offense we're excited about is, we lost Brody Diter at wide receiver. We replace him with a rising junior that's 6'3", Mikey McQueen. He has, a lot of upside towards him. You know what I mean? Whenever he's locked in and getting after it, he's extremely special. Our 2 slots, we got a transfer from Willingboro. He has to sit out for the first 3 games, but Terrence Knighton, I think he has about almost 2,000 career yards. So he's a veteran. Now I feel like he's been with us for a while because he transferred in what would have been in the spring.
Okay.
So, having him for over 6 months now it just kind of feels like he's always been there.
Yeah, maybe well then.
Yeah. Defensively though, we're excited. David Ogunzola, defensive end. Michael Beasley, defensive end. He has an offer from the University of Pittsburgh. But those 2 are really the cornerstones right now of our defense. Then our linebackers, Chris Osterly, Aaron Bright, J.J. Stewart. They're like it's our core group of guys with a newcomer of Thomas Jason, our nose tackle. He's 6'3", 245, and he can move. He's built like a running back. I mean,
where did he come from? You said new guy.
So he didn't play last year, but he's originally from New York, and he's a rising junior. So That's kind of the nice thing. Nobody has film on him, besides a couple scrimmages, but he only plays defense, so
Right.
he nice and rested. And Ricky Doppler, he'll be playing some defense too. So we're extremely excited because it's all about it for us, and this is something we tell the kids. The best part about coaching is trying to perfect it throughout the week, is just getting it right and leading that up. And you see the development from the weight room to the summer to now in fall camp, and now it's there on a game night. I always say there shouldn't be a lot of, if there's not a lot of coaching actually going on the field, that means that you guys are executing. That's not when the coaching should be done. That's if you have a bunch of people going nuts, that's chaos. That's not good.
It's funny. I'm a little league coach here back home. I say almost the
Yeah.
same thing. Like
Yep.
the game time, there's only so much we can do for you. It's a
Correct.
practice that we are going to coach you up, and hopefully it works.
Yeah, absolutely.
I love your theory. So,
Yeah.
moving on, I'm going to get to your regular season schedule in a minute. Your goals for this year. So, no, most coaches don't want to look ahead; they want to take that first game at a time. But let's be honest.
Yep.
The goal this year is to knock off Toms River North, the Group 5. From what I understand, I guess they're going to be the favorites again heading into the season with you guys in Washington Township.
Yep.
Right behind them. What's it going to take to knock off this seemingly invincible monster in the Toms River North Mariners?
Beating Millville this Friday.
All right.
Yeah. I mean, it all starts. Coach Ia down at Millville. He has that program running. So
yeah.
My mindset is to and don't worry, I'll definitely get to your question, but it's to get Millville, and I'm such. I know it sounds cliche. I'm such a believer of like we need to go 1-0 right now. We like today. If you could have heard us at practice, and this is all of our coaches. We are trying to beat Millville today. You know what I mean? So like that's where I think it's fun. Toms River, I just think it was unique because I don't think even last year that anybody wanted to match their physicality.
Right.
And we were like licking our chops at it. One of the ends that I told you about, David Ogunzola, this kid is, when you see him, he's number 17. He's jacked, chiseled. He has a relentless motor. And he was in the kid. Now that kid's at Florida State, they're big tackle, but at every play he's in his chest. And sometimes, as a bigger person, if you have that smaller guy into you fast, he's under your pads,
Right.
kind of hard. And we got up on them. Unfortunately, heading into that game, even last year, we had one of our receivers in pregame go down with a hamstring injury. It was a freak accident. He completely pulled it, couldn't play. So now it's we preach adversity to the kids. We're like, hey, as coaches, we're like, hey, next man up. We had another. So like losing two of our key guys, in terms of, that's why kind of this year I want to say it's more exciting because we have now got about 4 to 6 guys that can do it. Instead of last year, we really only had those 3 receivers where the next guys, they all were sophomores. So it was like, these kids aren't ready. You know what I mean? But they saw it. They got to witness it. They were a part of it, and I think that's all about the process. You need to fail in order to succeed. And you know what I mean? These kids have just gotten those blows. So now it's our turn to swing, and we're swinging for the fences.
Right. That's it's true, everything you said, but that's a great storyline going into the season.
Yeah.
Looking into Group 5. Okay. So, kind of, who else do you see as a contender this year? I know you guys, Washington Township. I had Coach Hendricks with Kingsway on last night. There'll be a challenge.
He's such a great coach. Coach Hendricks, he no matter what, he could have and it's any of it, like in terms of when the talent drops off, what do you got going on? And it's just, they're always so well coached at Kingsway. Washington Township is fun. Our kids love it. That to me, that's been like our little rivalry. It's so weird because me and Coach Schatzman are so close. Our offensive coordinator, their offensive coordinator, Frank Holmes, he used to be my offensive coordinator at Del Ran. So,
wow.
And some of my coaches, we all coach together. So it's like, we're weirdly connected. So we know what they're doing. They know what we're doing. Our kids are that game to us, it's going to be our senior night. You know what I mean? It's one of the things that like our kids, they love the opportunity to play them. But, and don't get me wrong, the first couple times that we played them, it was just scrimmages, and they would smack the piss out of us. They were relentless with that, and because Coach Schatzman does such a great job with the weight room, our kids saw what this. All right, this is where we need to get to. This is what it takes. So then, whenever we played them, a couple of years in the playoffs, the game was neck and neck. It was back and forth, and then at the end of the game, they had a long touchdown to pull away. Last year, we go down there. They're got everything rolling. And I think that we gave them, a real shock. We beat them 27-0. And it was kind of like, whoa, so, and even for our kids, there was no doubt that we could do that. So we're just excited to, keep this thing rolling up here in the Valley.
Yeah, so who else do you see in Group 5 as contenders besides, I just mentioned?
Yeah. So, I mean,
Atlantic City, maybe?
Yeah, Atlantic City. I mean, hell, Atlantic City beat us my first year here in the first round of playoffs. They had that kid Ice Cup. We that was our first introduction to him. This kid's at Rutgers now, but this kid was like, 6'1", 6'2", just he could catch anything. Great, phenomenal athlete. But I think it's those guys. There's always going to be, I want to say, a surprise team. Like Cherry Hill East is on the rise for what they got going. Coach Straub's doing a great job there. In terms of the central-ish region, I think it's just Toms River is that dominant force.
Yeah.
That, I definitely think us, Toms River, like you said, Kingsway and Washington Township would be the four. If I were to say, hey, who could be, some finalists right now.
Right. I was going to throw Williamstown in, but I think they're about a year away. I think a year from tonight, we're going to be throwing them right in the middle of this conversation.
Yep. And that's the thing, like them, and just in general, it's and I don't want to say obviously because he's coming back, Coach Fusatola, and what a legend. I remember when I first came out here watching some of their games and what they had, and just everything from top to bottom, great organization. He does a phenomenal job, and you can see that. You can really so they'll be back to what they and again that's why going down there playing them was absolutely electric. I thought it was great for our kids.
Yeah.
The fun, and that's what I think is so cool. Like to me, Group 5 football is like the SEC. Like I can't wait to go to Shawnee this year. We're weird. We love some of these away games because we're like, hey, we're gonna go into a hostile, environment. But our kids, they feed off that. If there's 50 people in the stands and dead, they're like, this isn't fun.
The atmosphere makes it. I always said that. The weather, everything, the noise. I pay attention to those little things, and you'd be surprised what difference little things make.
100%.
Never heard anybody else say that on these interviews. It's sometimes the little things that makes the atmosphere. Going into the regular season, I know you just mentioned Shawnee, Washington Township. Anybody else on your schedule that maybe you don't play often that has your attention just because you never play them and could be interesting? Something Camden is such a unique. That's we looked at that today as a staff. We were like, wow, we play 4 teams in the top 8. That's on our schedule. In terms of like battle tested strength of schedule and all that check. It's there. Camden is so unique because obviously they'll play in Group 2. Yeah,
they're going to dominate. But across the board, they have the size to be, that Group 5 in terms of like physical.
Yeah.
Skills. Coach Henson, he does such an awesome job. He's such a great coach. He takes no crap from the kids and vice versa. You can see the way that their kids play. So that just prepares you, where you're going to see a fast, tough, athletic team that he wants to run the football. So we're excited for that matchup. That's another one. St. Augustine. It's like that last year. I think that we kind of stunned them a little bit. I think that they thought that they could come in and bully us around. And like I said, that kid David Ogunzola, his name is going to keep on popping up. But they have a 6'5" tackle and he's in his chest punching, locking out. It's a shock to see. You know what I mean? Because sometimes people think, hey, I'm going to come in bully this little kid from RV. David O is the story of David and Goliath.
Yeah.
He's Goliath.
Well, I look forward to seeing that one. That's a Saturday game, October the 18th, I believe, at the Prep.
Oh, yeah.
And there's a lot of time to build up to that, too. So
absolutely. Week by week.
Talk about storyline. Before we go, this is a question I guess most coaches like to answer. Instead of talking about the playoffs and talking about opening night against Millville, what could you tell us about this game Friday night? I know Millville, they have a little dynasty going. They lost a talented senior class as well as Lutsier Brooks. However, I understand they have a lot coming back and are loaded with talent.
Oh yeah. Watching them in both of their scrimmages, and I was able to watch their Glassboro one live. Coach Ia, he does such a great job at getting those guys ready to play. Where they have two kids, number 7, number 12, that they really stuck out of just if they touch the ball, that they have the ability and capability to take it to the 80 yards. They could catch a 7 back to 5 hitch, and boom, they're gone. Their tailback, he's fast and shifty. I think their quarterback makes great decisions. I think he's an excellent quarterback that's going to go on and play college football. They have great big kids, an edge player, Jaden Jones. That's why I think it's just such a great matchup. You know what I mean? We have great players. They have great players. Kind of makes for kind of like what we got going on this weekend. Now, I'm not saying that either team is Texas and Ohio State, right, but in terms of like two great, top 10 teams, two great, if for high school football, I mean, and especially I think playing at Rowan, don't get me wrong. Everyone loves playing down in Ocean City. We did that a couple years ago. I'm a big fan. I'm excited for to play at Rowan and kind of give this new opportunity to our kids.
It's going to be great. And I think, like you said, if you love high school football, this is the game you don't want to miss. So real quick before we go, what's it going to take for you to beat them, and how do they beat you guys without saying too much?
This is something that I'd say this Coach Ia's face. It's our line. Our line is we have to dominate. We have to exert our toughness, and that's something that we're looking forward to doing. It's our offensive and defensive line, and then vice versa is limiting the big playability that they have, and they do have that. Just trying to hit something over the top and keep going to that. If we can limit that and play at a level of toughness for 4 quarters, not 2 quarters or anything. It's got to be 4 quarters of toughness. Red Devils will come out with the win.
All right, awesome. Garrett, I want to thank you for coming on the show. It sounds like you're going to have a really good year this year. I'm going to catch a couple of these games, obviously. Again, I want to thank you for coming on the show. Again, this is Joe Carullo at Carullo's Corner at it'sallaboutScores.com and it'sallaboutsports.com. Thank you again, Garrett.
Thank you, Joe. Appreciate you.